All right, welcome back to the channel. Happy New Year. We are going to be in the 154-pound division, as I think we have an update on one of the big fights that will be taking place in the beginning of the year. Errol Spence Jr. has announced his return, and information has come out about Terence Crawford, which I think provides some visibility in what is going to go on. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 154-pound division, where it appears that will be where Errol Spence and Terence Crawford will fight each other. Errol Spence Jr. has made an announcement, and there's been some other information that's come out, and it seems as if Terence Crawford will not be holding on to his 147-pound titles. Errol Spence Jr. takes to Instagram to announce his return. But before I get into the details of it, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you guys so much for your continued support. It makes a really big difference to the channel. Thank you for all the support that you gave in 2023. This is my first year. This is my first video of 2024. So thank you guys for all the support last year. But let's get into this. All right. So Errol Spence and Terence Crawford should be fighting one another again in the early part of this year. I do believe that it will be somewhere around the April time frame. Errol Spence Jr. has announced that he's back. So I think what that means is that those guys know when their fight dates are going to be, or waiting to get their specific fight dates. I did have an interview yesterday with Kenny Ellis, who was one of the trainers for Gervonta Davis, and asked him when exactly it would be that he would be back, that Gervonta would be back in the ring. And he said, look, we don't have a specific date yet. What they told us was at the top of the year. So everybody's just pretty much just waiting on their dates. But Errol Spence Jr. had not put out an Instagram post in, man, I want to say 5 months or so, been very, very quiet. So to have him come back and say, hey, man, I'm back, tells you that they're getting ready to do that. Also, you have information that's going around that Terence Crawford will probably be dropping his WBC belt, and that would leave him only with the WBO and the WBA, and that belt is going to probably be up for grabs. And word is that it could very well be a fight between Mario Barrios and Jaron Ennis for that particular title. And if that's the case, man, I think that's really big news, because that would mean that you have both of these guys, that Jaron Ennis more than likely will be a unified champion inside the first half of this year, setting up even more big fights for 147 pounds throughout the year. But in saying that, that would mean that more than likely the fight is going to be at 154 pounds for Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford. Now the belt, I don't know what would happen as far as, I doubt very much that fight would be for a title, because there are no vacant titles, unless maybe Jermell Charlo decided that he was going to vacate the 2 titles that he has there. Other than that, it's probably just going to be a straight fight just between the 2 of them. And one that I have a suspicion is going to be a lot more competitive than the first fight. I'm not saying that I don't believe that Terence Crawford will. Terence Crawford, I have to edge him in that fight because of the way that the things of that last fight that transpired. But I do believe that there are things about Errol where Errol was not all the way right or all the way prepared for that fight the best that he could be. And that is what it is. And we will only know for sure when the fight takes place I do believe in April. Now, the reason that I said April is because there was a tweet that was put out by Errol Spence that was put up and then taken down pretty fast. But I think that is more than likely what we're looking at. January, I think what we can anticipate seeing is sometime in this month that the PBC is going to actually start announcing what fights they're going to have. Of course, the deal that they have with Amazon Prime had already been announced, and they have between 12 and 15 pay-per-views. And so that more than likely is going to be, I hope what that is once a month. And maybe a couple times it's going to be twice a month, but that's a lot of big fights, man. And if there's going to be more than one, and with those pay-per-views, fighters like Errol Spence, Canelo Alvarez, Gervonta Davis, Terence Crawford, if Terence Crawford is going to continue to fight with the PBC, those guys are more than likely to have more than one date for those pay-per-views available for them. So I think that, man, we should really, really have a very good year of boxing. And obviously, we're also going to be waiting to see what ESPN is going to do and what DAZN is going to do. To me, DAZN last year was I think some of the Saudi Arabian cards, that Saudi Arabian card was really, really good, but I think that that's about all we're going to get out of that type of scenario. And this is maybe just a little bit of, hater in my blood for what Eddie Hearn said about the Deontay Wilder-Anthony Joshua fight. It's a mismatch now. Wasn't a mismatch when Alexander Usyk was getting beat up. But, it is, when Alexander Usyk was beating Anthony Joshua up. But you know what it is, man. They're not trying to put anybody in there with Deontay. So to me, you got Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk, and more than likely that's going to be on ESPN. Those are one of the big fights coming up. But, the Errol Spence and Terence Crawford fight, I think, is going to be the rematch. It's probably going to be one of the more intriguing ones because of what happened in the first fight and just, the questions out there about what kind of condition Errol Spence Jr. was in. And if it was that he was in a different condition and we get just an all-around better fight, hey man, we may be able to get a third. But at the end of the day, man, I'm just excited that we're in 2024. 2023 was just such it was a tremendous year. I think it kind of fell off a little bit towards the end of the year. The first half of the year was really, really tremendous. And that's been a kind of a trend over the last couple of years where the first part of the year has been very good and then the second half kind of trails off. Hopefully this Amazon Prime thing will allow at least the PBC to have these fights go through the entire year and get more than one fight out of all of their big name stars, including Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. I don't see Terence Crawford going and fighting on some other network other than the PBC, because I just don't think they don't really have a lot over there in the weight classes that he would fight, and which would be 154 pounds. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.